emotions. Emotions is something that everyone feels on a daily basis, and they can make us change our behavior in subtle and drastic ways. When we're happy, we're more likely to be forgiving of bad news, more likely to express ourselves, more likely to have a better outlook on situations. Flip to that, when we're sad, we're more likely to break down, shut ourselves off from everyone, and feel like everything is garbage. Emotions are complicated, and video games are able to make us feel all these different kinds of emotions at different times, and sometimes simultaneously. But there's one emotion that video games are amazing at bringing out. Video games are able to make us feel powerful. Games that solely aim to do this can generally be described as power fantasies, as you assume the role of a character with such great potential and strength that literally nothing can stand in their way. Character action games like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta are the best at expressing these feelings, as you take on hordes of enemies while being stylish and badass. But what if we have an ultra powerful character and put them in a situation where they're not meant to always win? What if we put these characters into a fighting game? Fighting games are a strange genre, as the characters within them are generally designed with the idea that they will have some weakness, and thus are designed so that they won't always win. Hit animations, damage sounds, lose poses, all of these things are part of the design process of a character. How can you express a character's true power while still having them lose at a specific point? We'll get into that later, but first I need to go over something that makes the video title make more sense, and that's feeling powerful. Like I expressed before, games are able to make you feel powerful really easily by letting you into the shoes of a powerful character and letting you control that character's actions. But when translating a character like that into a fighting game, sure, you can make them look powerful, and if they're good enough, they might just get a powerful feeling from playing them alone. But if someone who's better than you fights you, that character's canonical power doesn't mean shit. So designers have to find other ways to empower players and make them feel like even when they're losing the match, they were able to have a sense of power, given that the match isn't a complete wipe. These two things can overlap at some point, with a character's displayed power leading to ways to empower the player. But to begin with, let's look at how fighting games are able to display a canonical power. If you don't know, most fighting games have lore, like a lot of lore, like seriously a lot of lore. Oh my god, why is there so much lore?
How did it all get here?
Why did they make so much out of this?
Why is her alias butt floss? What?
So with all of this lore, some of it has to be expressed through their animations and character, with one of the things they need to show being how powerful the character is in comparison with everyone else. This is where the hand of the visual designer comes in and turns these functions into an appealing, compelling, and interesting character. Honestly, this is a ridiculously hard feat, and the fact that fighting games have so many characters that designed to just scream what they're about from their visual design, and being able to have that backed up with the animations, voice lines, everything, it's amazing. But what about a character that has the big stonks? There isn't a universal way that power is shown to the player, but there are a few interesting ones I want to talk about, so we know what we mean by displaying power. The first one being through their animations. Animations are probably the most integral thing in a fighting game. Without the animations, the technical aspects of the game mean nothing, and even then the animations need to be good. You don't want your characters doing the Netherrealm stanky leg. You want them to look like when they kick there's power behind it, like the moves really left an impact when connected. You want that shit to look like it hurt, bro. One way that games do this is with hit stop. While not every fighting game uses this technique, the ones that do incorporate it can do it in different ways, with Guilty Gear Strive being one of the best examples. Strive has a lot of really good animations in it, but one of the best things it does is sell you on the power of its hits with the amount of hit stops that the moves generate. A move like Fafnir, which has always been seen as a pretty powerful move, now feels even more so, as hitting the move gives you an extremely dense amount of hit stop. Hell, even when the move is blocked, characters stagger back and make a surprised face to sell that even more. There's also the thing that Strive and most Guilty Gears actually do for specific characters, even when they're losing. Fun lore fact: in the Guilty Gear universe, vampires are immortal and cannot die. However, you can play as vampires in several of the Guilty Gear games. Due to these games being fighting games, there will be matches where the person playing the vampire character will lose. So what happens exactly if you beat Slayer and plus R? Oh, Saul, it appears you have bested me. A character's mannerisms and animations while getting their ass kicked can show how powerful they really are. Like, imagine kicking somebody's ass, playing your best, hitting them with everything that you've got, and they just lay there waiting for you to paint them. Hell, imagine beating somebody up and they're laughing at you like, I'm trying to kill you right now. Why are you laughing at me? We've been here for a while, so let's just do one more before we get onto the other side of the question. A character's actual kick can be used to display how powerful they are. I'm not the first person to talk about this, so I'll just make it quick. Which game displays this best, though? Dragon Ball is a franchise that literally has a mechanic that literally ranks each character by how strong they are. But in fighting games, your skill can't really be displayed as an integer like power level. And while characters can definitely be better than others, most modern fighting games are pretty well balanced. So how do you show here that Krillin is weaker than the God of the New World? Well, you give Krillin this, and you give UI Goku this. In the show, Ultra Instinct is a technique where instead of thinking through a problem, you empty your mind and let your body move on its own in order to dodge enemy attacks and counterattack on your own. I think it's been a while since I watched Super. So how do you transfer that into the character in the game? You make it so that the player doesn't have to think. You give him the best defense and you give him a lot of counters. The fact that UI Goku has a normal and super counter that gets you into his preferred range with a hard read or just a bunch of damage is really nice considering the source material that it came from. Plus it just looks really cool to pull off. But that doesn't matter. Oh, cool, wow, my character Cha-Cha slides the enemy and lays down when I lose. That doesn't make me feel better. When are we going to talk about me, Gecko? Good, please, talk about me. As I've said before, most games are power fantasies, and there's a reason for that. It feels good to be powerful. Fighting games being a genre that is seen as hard to stick to, which means that developers have to find a way to give players that dopamine hit, even if they aren't winning, which is honestly pretty hard. Fighting games are one of the most honest competitive games out there. In something like CSGO, if you're losing but you got a high KDA, you can look at the scoreboard and go, oh, well, I'm not bad, my team just sucks, to dismiss most of your mistakes. But in fighting games, it's just you and your opponent. While people try to find ways to weasel themselves out of accepting their mistakes to protect their egos, for most people, they'll just be turned off the game. So how do we stop that from happening? Make them feel like they're the coolest motherfucker in the world. Wanna see how Tekken gets this many numbers? Cause of this shit! Goddamn! Tekken's really good at selling the power of a move and making players feel that, and it only gets better when you're at lower HP. Rage not only makes you hit harder and gives you access to the blue stuff for combo extensions and Rage Out where you just want to do a full damaging combo with the press of a button, but the best way that Tekken gives you the feeling of power is through the low health slow-mo. When two players are both on low health and they swing at each other, the game slows down and zooms in to really emphasize what's going on. Neither player can do anything in this moment, so they just have to sit and watch, and coming out the other side winning feels amazing. Tekken isn't the only franchise that gives players the feeling of power through their gameplay though. Some even find ways to do it without a combat mechanic. We can't talk about feeling powerful without talking about Third Strike now, can we? If you've played Third Strike, you probably know where this is going, but if you haven't, then we've got some things to go over. Third Strike is a game with an interesting take on defense. While you have your standard style of blocking by holding back, there's no version of push or safe blocking, so you'll be taking a lot of chip damage from all specials and supers, unless you give your guard up and decide to go for a parry. Parrying is a universal mechanic in which if you press forward within a 10 frame window, this changes depending on if you're in the air, on the ground and stuff. You'll take no damage, recover faster than you normally would if you blocked, and feel like a badass. This mechanic is extremely well designed. The unique sprite your character does combined with the white flash and the sharp sound effect not only makes it so satisfying to pull off, but also makes you feel like a badass. And since it's universal, anyone can do it, which is a plus. Fighting games do a lot to make us feel like we're powerful, which is why I love this genre. The more you play, the more things that you can find to increase your own strength, and making a breakthrough after struggling with something for so long feels amazing. This is where the true feeling of power in fighting games lies. Also with kicking your enemy's ass, get fucked, biatch! I still don't know how to end videos, so tell me how fighting games make you feel powerful in the comments, I guess. Okay, bye.